Yeah. Now, certain areas didn't get it as much, especially affluent areas, because those people were able to kind of, because they had money, right? If you take that like a hybrid of a system like I was just explaining to you, where things can get manipulated, but then add a little bit of a culture of how things work in Mexico, where you can bribe people and not have to deal with certain things, right? Even though there's corruption to that extent and maybe religious corruption involved, but you can actually buy yourself out of it somehow.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's like a hybrid. So you can have someone from a rural area in Iran tell you this is what they learn in school, but then someone from an affluent area in Tehran say, well, I never experienced that. Well, because he was from somewhere else. It's just like someone who went to school in Beverly Hills won't have the same experience as someone who went to school in Jasper, Texas.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Sure, they're both in America, but we're talking about different demographics.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense.
Similar.
Did y'all do any like military training, or did y'all do like, y'all have to march and like do stuff like that as you got older?
It started out like literally the first year. I mean, like we would, I tell you, 6, 7, 8, 9, all the way up to, 12th grade, whatever. You show up in the morning. You know how over here you have like Pledge Allegiance, right? Everybody stand up in the classroom. Well, over there we had like courtyards, right? So at the courtyard, you would stand there with the Iranian flag and you had to salute it. And then in the process of saying like so-called the national anthem, and then you would basically death to America, death to Israel, death to the Jews. It was part of the so-called equivalent to like the national anthem that you say every morning before you even go to class.
Wow.
So when you explain that here, that's the only parallel that I can draw. So imagine like a 7-year-old going to school here and they grow up saying the national anthem. By the time they're 15 years old, it becomes part of the culture, right?
Yeah.
So you go in and you're saying so-called the national anthem, right? If that's what you want to call it, but embedded in it is hatred for the West, death to America.
Yeah.
At 6 years old, right? At 8 years old, instead of PE, you're taken out to the field to learn how to, disassemble mines.
Wow.
And use a knife to take mines apart. Because at that time, Saddam had kind of decided he's going to go to a war and try to take over land and things like that. So you had that dynamic going.